if we knew more about how to raise emotionally intelligent kids. I think that would be huge for society.
I think it would be absolutely massive. I think part of that as well, Jack, is helping children understand who they are, so emotionally know who they are. And I think because if you know who you are, then you follow a path that's true to you, and then you're less likely, I would imagine, to have significant mental health conditions when you're older. That's my so you know, I've only recently realised. So my daughter's pretty clever, really clever, but she wants to go and do drama. And I know the internal voice in my head is, "Oh, drama, it's not academic enough. She's not going to get a degree, blah, 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 blah." And I would have said that 10 years ago. But now I swallow all of that society's told me is the right thing for my child to do. And I say, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you happy. But I don't think that's the norm in society. Do you?
I don't think so. I think that parents like to put the pressures that their parents put on them when they were younger on their own kids. So
Mm-hmm.
if what I've observed is that it takes a lot of effort to break the mold of like you need to go get a degree or you need to go
Mm-hmm.
do this to in your life if you weren't told that as a kid.
Yeah. I, and that's research based actually, Jack, what you've just said, because if in order to change the way you parent away from how you were parented is really hard, really, really hard, really, really hard. um you've got to be quite pretty self-aware, really.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the goal in parenting, right? Create a better generation, a better kid than you are yourself. My
Mm-hmm.
I interviewed my dad not that long ago, and he
Yeah,
said that like his goal with me and my sister was to like create himself with better qualities, if that makes sense. And
yeah,
that's beautiful, I think.
yeah, it is. It's lovely. And I think I've got three children, and I always call my first one my guinea pig because I didn't really know what I was doing. I,
Yeah.
but what's really interesting actually is my youngest child, who I felt like I was the most relaxed with, and I didn't really feel the pressure of society because by then I was older. It was my third child. I was too busy actually to really think carefully about a lot of my parenting. She's the most steady of the three, actually. And I wonder if there's a lot of the work I'm doing at the minute is thinking about how much have we overparented as well.
Can you talk about that a little bit over parenting?
So, kind of, um, have you heard of snowplow parents and helicopter parents? Have you heard those phrases
Yes.
before?
Yeah.
So it's that type of. So it's the same the way that social media might put pressure on a young person to be look a certain way, act a certain way. There's a lot of that social media pressure on mums as well, on parents. So you've got all this pressure to. I was at a meeting the other day. So I teach pregnant women about the emotions of the unborn baby. And they were talking about all the new things they have to do as a pregnant mum. And they were talking about harvesting colostrum. So it's the fore milk that you have before you breastfeed that leaks out of you before the baby comes. And they were getting test tubes and scooping it up and keeping it in the fridge. I was like, how on earth have you got enough time to think about that? Like, that's just an expectation that to me is totally unrealistic. So society's telling you that you have to be this kind of parent, and then you try and do it, and then you end up as being a snowplow parent where you produce a child at the other end who has never known adversity. So when that adversity comes, which it ultimately always will, they're just not prepared for it. So Does,
I'm smiling because I think a lot of times an older generation will say that like the newer generation is weak or like
mm,
they're lazy. But what you just described is basically placing the blame on the parenting. So every generation might become more, or my generation in particular might become more uh, less prone to like succeed in adverse situations, but that's because there weren't adverse situations in our childhood. Is that what
mm-hmm.
you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's very difficult, I think, as a parent when you can prevent that happening for your child. It's very hard not to step in because that's being a good parent. So I'm not blaming any parents because I've done all of these things that I'm talking about as a mum. I just think I've got the knowledge to know why I did it and what the implications of it has been, and I can see that reflected in my children, and I can see it reflected in society as well. How I suppose what we're talking about is the new generations of parents, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah, kind of because you said like social media like will encourage these parents to do these crazy things where it's like,
Hmm.
I mean, my guess is you disagree that you don't think that that's where the like effort should be going.
No, I think the effort should be going to making sure that as a well, if we talk about a pregnant mum, she should be resting. She should be, she should be chilling. For the probably can't because she's probably working full time. But you certainly shouldn't be worried about collecting milk that actually will go in the back of the fridge, and you'd be lucky if you remember it because by the time the newborn's there, you haven't even got time to have a shower. And a mum in the modern day needs to look after them, and a dad. It depends on how hands on the everybody is, but I think all if you're in a good place, then your children will be in a good place. Is what I kind of come to the conclusion of after all these years of working with families.
You just finished watching a clip from the Grateful podcast with me, your host, Jack Wagner. If you enjoyed it, check out the full length episode right here or subscribe to the channel for more podcast episodes and videos like this in the future by clicking right here. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Stay grateful.